Please. Yeah, I would assume you should.
Test, test. Can you hear me, Melissa?
Yes, I can hear you.
Only damned up because they got all kinds of living when we built that bridge across there because I didn't get their permission.
Any of y'all interested in the ERP Pro? That's the Encode, the cloud where you can log in and view your expenditures throughout it at any time.
Yeah, I've got, yeah, sure.
Whenever everything gets together. Something that
More something that like, yeah, the United Treasurer's Office in the periodic reports. I don't know where
there.
Well, this is.
It's pretty simple. It's not that bad. You've done, you want to do it a couple of times.
Yeah.
It's really not that bad. What is your schedule look like today or tomorrow?
Anytime today.
Anytime today?
Yeah.
Okay. Are you
More than one.
okay? Are you? You have a laptop? No. You got a computer at your barn?
Yeah.
Okay. I never have been out to your barn.
Downtown Lakewood.
Okay.
Easy to. How much? Really done. I mean, this is getting very,
No question. You got internet out there. You have internet out there?
we want,
Do you have internet out there?
yeah,
Okay. Okay.
yeah, we need to make that Christmas. They got some. They got some. We can have it. You. Like turn around. The milk counter on back. We'll see.
Ready? All right, this time we're going to reconvene. At this time, we're going to reconvene this meeting, regular meeting of Hill County Commissioners Court that was started earlier this morning at 8:30 on the August 23rd, 2022. Let the record reflect, we're coming back from executive session at 9:55 a.m. on this date, and our next item of business is number 21 on our agenda, which is reconvene regular meeting to deliberate and act on a resolution supporting the creation of a foreign trade zone in support of a proposed project by Frontier Support Logistics. At this time, Art, I'm going to turn the floor over to you. And
Well, Frontier Sport Logistics is right now based in the south part of town, has purchased some land in our industrial park. And they're wanting to put in a inland port and bring items from the Port of Houston and other ports. Duty free with a foreign trade zone. And Bill with Ernst & Young is here to kind of explain the process for y'all. I guess the key item you'll get into it is you do not get to collect inventory tax on whatever's stored in the property. So I'll turn it over to Bill.
Okay, thanks, Art.
morning, Bill. Good to see you again.
Good to see you too.
Art probably went over a little bit of this with the foreign trade zone is it's a federal program. It's an incentive program that's designed to help companies bring investment and create jobs and invest. And it's done by a flexible application of U.S. customs rules. Basically, it's designating a property that's physically in the U.S., like the property that Frontier's looking to achieve foreign trade status for. But it's that property, when designated as a foreign trade zone, is treated as outside of the customs territory of the United States. So it's equalizing treatment with businesses that are doing business offshore. An easy way to think about that is normally when goods arrive at a port, like things come in from Asia to the port of Los Angeles, once they're loaded off the ship, all of the customs formalities have to be taken care of at that point, which declaration to file, and the customs tariffs have to be paid at that point in time. With a foreign trade zone, the company bypasses all of that. And instead of having to go through the customs formalities at the port, they can move things to the foreign trade zone. Without having to clear customs again, because the foreign trade zone is considered outside the United States. And then if product leaves the foreign trade zone for a domestic destination, then the tariffs have to be paid. If the products leave the foreign trade zone and are exported to a foreign destination, they were never here from a customs standpoint, so no tariffs have to be paid on the product. There's additional benefits for manufacturers. This doesn't apply to the Frontier project, but part of it I want to talk to you about is if you're so inclined to improve the Frontier project, it's going to potentially leverage their requests to get some benefit that could be a broad benefit to the county. And manufacturers have an ability to, when you're bringing in component parts, tariffs are very specific to the product, and some products are very low and some are very high. And the manufacturer can elect whether they want to pay tariff at the component rate or the finished product rate return as well. So a lot of manufacturers get significant benefits out of the one trade zone program. It's an old program that dates back to the 30s, and it has a kind of an unusual regulatory scheme that has multiple tiers. And there's an interagency board that's been created by Congress. It's called the Foreign Trade Zones Board. And it has, it's actually composed of the Secretaries of Treasury and Commerce. The staff of the Trade Zones Board are all provided by the Department of Commerce. And that board approves the specific locations of any foreign trade zones. And it also approves any specific manufacturing that occurs in foreign trade zones. And it's got a very broad remit. It approves any of those locations based on what's in the public interest. So in looking at the public interest, that's where your opinion becomes important to them and why Frontier is asking for support. Frontier can't go to the Foreign Trade Zones Board directly, however, because the way the statute is set up, Foreign Trade Zones Board issues what are called grants of authority to local entities to manage foreign trade zones for regions. And those are called grantees. It's usually a public entity, sometimes it's a public both. But for North Texas, the primary grantee is the DFW Airport. So Frontier will be asking the DFW Airport Board to make an application on its behalf to designate the Frontier property as a part of that trade. And then once it's up and running, the port of Dallas, the U.S. Customs and Port of Dallas, is on the operating and what's going on, because towards the end of the day, they want to make sure that they can run enough money for the products through. And there are two things I want to be sure to do. I think you have an opportunity to leverage the Frontier project for some broad benefits that I want to focus on talking to you about. But I want to be sure that you're comfortable with the Frontier project as well and what that means to the county. And I think I want to talk to you about that some, judges, is that pretty clear to everybody? You want me to run back to the property tax piece briefly?
Go ahead and run through the property tax piece, please.
The primary piece that affects you does relate to personal property tax. The Foreign Trade Zones Act, federal act, prohibits any state or local government from assessing property tax on inventory that's in a foreign trade zone. Because it's, again, it's considered a foreign commerce outside the customs jurisdiction of the United States. So anything that has been imported is held in a foreign trade zone, regardless of time frame that it may be there. Anything that's a domestic product that's brought in a foreign trade zone that's going to be exported, whether in the condition that it's brought in or combined with something else to be a manufactured product, it is going to be used. It's a statutory provision that was adopted in 1984. It was specifically adopted for Texas. It was a bill that was introduced into Congress by Jim Wright and Jack Brooks. Some of you are maybe old enough to remember Jack was a congressman in Galveston, and Jim Wright was from Fort Worth, of course, became Speaker of the House, and Senator Scour Benson sponsored it from the Senate side. Because the foreign trade zone approvals that we mentioned are based on public interest, when there's an impact on local tax base, the support of each of the taxing authorities is important to the Foreign Trade Board to make an improvement. So part of your decision to approve the Frontier project is going to be authorizing the judge to send a letter with the application, that DFW's application to the Frontier project, that says that we support it and we understand the inventory that's in the Foreign Trade Zone that's been imported or sought or exported. It's not going to be subject to Avalon. For you all, for any jurisdiction that has a free port exemption, like I believe most of them do in Bill County, there's a significant overlap with trade zones. So just want to be clear with what that's about. Maybe sound like free port and trade zone. The free port exemption applies to inventory that's held in the state of Texas for less than 175 days in the state. So you've got, it doesn't matter where it came from, and leaving, it just has to leave the state, not the country, to be exempt, and there's a time limit on it. The foreign trade zone exemption again applies to anything that originates outside the United States, say it was imported, or anything that's going to be exported outside the United States. So that the incremental difference, the incremental benefit to anybody using the foreign trade zone, you want to think about that when compared to Freeport, is going to be any imported inventory which is sold to a Texas customer, because that would not be exempt on the Freeport because it's not leaving the state. So if something came into the Frontier site and the people that owned it, something to a customer for work, that's taxable property in the Freeport, it would be exempt under foreign trade zone. And then the other part, which is the narrower piece, is that any inventory that is going to sit around longer than 175 days that might be exported outside the country wouldn't be covered by Freeport because it's been here too long. But foreign trade zone will pick that up. That doesn't happen a lot because people want to turn their inventories quickly, but there are some applications that the DFW just takes longer than 175 days to make a helicopter, so all the inventories there too long. Freeport, and it would pick up things like that. Not affected either. So you're thinking about a bigger picture for the school district. The rules, of course, the school finance are different. School districts only get property tax and state aid as a basis for their budget. And like Freeport property, foreign trade zone property is not counted when the comptroller doesn't study it well in the school district. So the district has already adopted Freeport, and this works very much the same way, in that the state is basically holding the school district harmless for any amount of foreign trade zone property and tax exemption it's given, just like they do with Freeport exemption. So I can get into that more if you want to hear about it. That's not for the school district, but just to be sure that you all are, if you've been thinking about the other taxing authorities, they're going to be city and the college district very much in the same position you are. The school district's in a different position. They're largely all held by the state. So with that background on the tax piece, let me go back. And give you the piece I think that is probably most important for me to focus on today. If you're supportive of a Frontier request, you've got an opportunity to leverage that request to ask DFW Airport to include all of Hill County in what's called the DFW Airport Foreign Trade Zone Service Area. And if you're approved as part of the service area, it means that the whole county is effectively pre-approved as foreign trade zone. And any other business that would come in and go through an expedited approval process for a short form application, provided that they have the support of the taxing authorities. So you still get, if you were say over with the school district and the college district and the city, the Frontier's other option is to apply for what's called a subzone. You just apply to Frontier, it wouldn't affect anything else in Hill County. And effectively, when we talk about this Frontier, it's going to take about the same amount of time and cost about the same amount as doing it the other way. So we wanted to ensure to give you the opportunity to ask for Hill County to be added to the service area if you want to. And because you can basically do it at no cost, it's their picking up the theme of this. So the way service is the way the service makes work in Texas, DFW Airport's service area into the element includes 8 counties. So all the way from Grayson County, whether down to Kaufman County and Stanton, Collin, Tarrant, Dallas, as well as those others. There's, for historical reasons, there's a separate foreign trade zone grantee in Ellis County for a site in the local, and they actually have a service area in Ellis and Barrow counties. That's the piece that's in the screen here. And so those 2 counties are covered. There's no activity that's owned at all currently. So technically, you've got 10 counties that if any company wanted to move into those counties, wanted more trade zone, they'd be eligible for this fast track process. They're not currently eligible here, but by adding Hill County to the DFW service area, they would be eligible. So that's pretty much the story. It's the quick summary of foreign trade is going to be important incentives for businesses involved in international. It's a limited number of businesses, but it's important for those families. Hill County could use the Frontier project as a vehicle to have Hill County added to the DFW service area. The service area is effectively pre-approved by the Foreign Trade Zone Board in Washington as FTZ ready. It's going to take about a year to do it, but once it's done, any business that's either here or located here can go through this expedited process, and the expedited process basically is with your approval. And the short form application sent in, the Foreign Trade Zones Board will approve those in 30 days. So it's going to take a year to get this done, but after that, it's only going to take something 30 days as long as you all are supportive of the project. And that short form application is really expensive. So it would add an economic development incentive available to Hill County, but puts you in a position where you've got to be treated with all those other counties that were on the other map. And it's no cost to you currently. And of course, you and all the other tax authorities still get individual say so over any particular project. So with that, I'm happy to answer any questions about how the program works, what it does.
Does it affect any of our current properties that are under abandonment or I don't qualify for free for it, ways or looks or like our personal property tax?
Yeah, the inventory is not available for the under the Texas statute. So this this would have given a benefit specifically to inventory, but only for those properties. So in this case, it's going to be the customers in front here will be the only ones that be eligible.
So to answer your question, none of the existing.
There's no existing business that would qualify.
Because every project has to be approved.
Correct. So if there was an existing business, we create an FTZ, foreign trade zone, they'd have to come back to this body and the other respective taxing entities and get approval to participate in that at that time. So just because the zone exists doesn't mean everybody gets automatically to participate. They have to make the application process.
So that's why we don't have to go to all the taxing agencies in the county to get it approved. It's just if somebody decides to witness, they won't witness and get the support. But come back to court and go to the school to the city in the college. Yeah.
You mentioned in your presentation to the EDC, how many of these foreign trade zones exist in the United States? You give that number,
Yeah, there are about 195 active foreign trade zones. They're all, but each of those foreign trade zones have multiple sites. All over the places. During the 2020, which is there's an annual report that the Foreign Trade Commerce that always behind. So 2020 is the last one they did. About 407,000 people employed at 3,400 different businesses using foreign trade zones, and that number was down from prior total numbers. So we expect that's going to be up to 500,000 people employed this year.
Questions?
Just the negatives so far.
Oh, well, I don't have any negatives so far. I mean, you look at the starting off with just the project that Frontier is talking about. We have some land that's currently greenfield unused. It's in the city, but some is agricultural designated. By turning that into commercial property, we're going to see the look back 3 years on that. And of course, taking it out of production, it's going to raise the rates on it. I've been trying to find this, I can ask Art, you can ask the mayor, you can ask David. I've been very skeptical of this from the get-go. Just the nature of it sounds too good to be true. Therefore it is. Sorry, the way I think. And we've spent a lot of time looking at this. This is not the first time, Methanitis, correct with your last name? Not the first time we've heard Mr. Bill Methanitis speak to this. We've gone out to Frontier Logistics. Art's gone with me. Talked to multiple parties about this, and I'm still looking for the downside too. I don't see it. We still have control over our destiny. When we approve this, they're going to pay for it. So no money out of our pocket. Now, I don't have anything in writing here today that says they're going to do the entirety of the county. That would make me feel better if I had that, but it does say here that we're going to support their project, and ultimately in return, they're telling us they will apply that to the geographical boundaries of the county.
So the next meeting is separate motion.
Yeah, and I had set this up in certain weeks, so, but there, you want to make a motion to ask the DFW to approve you into the service area. DFW already has a policy in place that says any county that's eligible that asks will be handled. So they've got a policy statement. They are planning to put that on their agenda for their October board meeting if you approve today. So I'm talking about, and I'm a representative. So
That's helpful.
yeah, and there's a specific format that the Foreign Trade Zones Board asks in a letter signed by the county, by Judge BN. So that
Okay.
Art has that, which there's a separate resolution you need to pass approving Frontier property. We need a separate letter that the Foreign Trade Zones Board wants in regard to Frontier.
I have the Frontier letter and the Frontier resolution in my packet. I just had not seen that document.
Well, I think you can go ahead and pass a resolution today that authorizes the judge to sign a letter asking for the service. I'll get you the letter in the proper format.
I agree. I think that our agenda item is worded as such: reconvene regular meeting to deliberate and act on a resolution supporting the creation of a foreign trade zone and support a proposed project. I think that's wide enough that we can get into it and ask the DFWs to admit Hill County into their FPZ. Is there a separate resolution as well for that process asking, or just a letter?
Only letters needed from the federal standpoint.
It's good to- all right, wonderful. Questions? Our little county's growing. All right.
I can say it's gonna be a good situation for you.
I think so. All right, anything further, Bill?
No,
All right, thank you for the presentation. I appreciate it. But this time, there's a couple of actions we need to take care of. It sounds like first and foremost, we need a motion to request that the DFW Free Trade Zone authority admit Hill County into their free trade zone and allow the county judge to send a letter of request to the DFW authority to do so.
Make a motion.
All right. Motion, a couple seconds there, throw those around, sprinkle them around. So we have a motion and a second on that. And so I'm gonna, any further discussion on our request to DFW? It's the first of two motions we need to make here. So the first is, request DFW to create it. We made that motion. There's a second to it. Is there anything further on that discussion? If not, I'll call the question. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? The motion to request participation by Hill County into the DFW FTZ authority is approved. The next is to approve a letter of support and a resolution. And that resolution for the foreign trade zone proposed by Frontier Support Logistics. Whereas Hill County Commissioners Court is currently considering the creation of a foreign trade zone that will encompass the boundaries of the county. Whereas foreign trade zones are secure areas of the U.S. Customs and Border Protection supervision that are generally considered outside the U.S. Customs territory upon activation. They are the United States version of what are commonly internationally known as free trade zones and put in place by communities as an incentive to business. And whereas Frontier Support Logistics has shown an interest in securing an FTZ designed to operate as a transload and ground storage facility at 201, 350, 401, 601, 7088 industrial loop in the Hillsborough Industrial Park, which will be within the county's FTZ boundaries. And whereas the Hillsborough Economic Development Corporation Board voted on August 4th to recommend proceeding with an FTZ, which would create the zone, but allow case-by-case consideration of each project to ensure the taxpayer benefit would be realized by allowing each project to participate within the zone. And whereas the Hill County Economic Development Corporation is also in favor of conferring the zone benefits to Frontier Support Logistics, whereas the Hill County Commissioners Court believes that supporting the creation of an FTC and extension of that designation for FSL, Frontier Support Logistics, would be beneficial to the tax base of Hill County. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Hill County Commissioners Court that Commissioners Court resolves to provide a letter of support to FSL in its efforts to gain a free trade zone designation from the U.S. Department of Commerce. Adopted this the 23rd day of August 2022. That is the resolution.
Make a motion, give the judge permission to do so.
A motion and a second to approve a letter of support and approve a resolution supporting Frontier Support Logistics applications to the U.S. Department of Commerce, the designation of a free trade zone. Any further discussion, comments, commentary, general critiques about life at this point? Nothing? All right, I'll call a question. All in favor, say aye.
Yeah.
Aye. All opposed? Any abstentions? Motion shall carry. I'm going to make copies of these and then they're going to get back to me and we'll mail out the originals here shortly. The envelopes. I'll let you make a copy. All right, that brings us to item number 22, which is yield budget workshop. Mr. Mithanitis, is there anything further we need from us today on this?
You open the mail letter, the letters need to go back to the committee, so that they're in the application.
Happy to do so.
While they're addressed, they don't know what to do with that.
Completely understand. So let's do this. We'll make copies real quick. Paula's not sitting there. We'll get Paula to make copies real quick. Thank you, Kevin. And we'll get them right back before you leave. Get you these letters in the envelopes they go in. No, I don't believe it needs to be sealed unless you want to. Is there a requirement for it to be sealed by the attestation signature? Okay. The two letters, yes, sir, please. Thank you very much.
There's
Kevin.
only one letter.
That's the letter.
Oh.
That's the resolution.
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. Just. Good deal. All right. Well, while we're waiting on that, we're going to move into budget workshops. Who's got a budget workshop topic today? All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Is the Axiom?
Yes, sir.
All right, Axiom. I see Axiom. Axiom. That is a considerable reduction. So a couple of different things we talked about. We need to get a body camera and a car camera for Constable Gurr. She is non-usable and a total estimated cost on this camera, the body camera, the storage, the software, the whole 9 yards for 60 months is going to be $6,382.45. Oh, that's right. Forgive me. We're without tax. Thank you for pointing that out because Susan would have pointed it out after I sent in the bill. It's $5,939, which we've paid more than that for cameras in the past. So I think that's a reasonable solution. And I propose that we put this, you want this in next year's budget starting October 1 or? Okay, so I'm going to propose to put this in there unless somebody tells me not to. The other thing is we're looking at several of the sheriff's line items. We had a long budgetary meeting yesterday in regards to supplies is a large part of it. And the demands of their jobs have gone up considerably. The supply line items, I'm going to propose to add a couple thousand, probably $5,000 to $10,000 to both of those supply line items, depending on what I can find. There are other supply line items cover everything from cost related with psychological exams on down the line to pencil and papers, you name it. It's kind of a catch-all. Question and conversations that we had yesterday, we won't probably be able to do it, and no, we won't be able to do it in this coming fiscal year, but I'm asking that we take that line and we split that out into more descriptive lines in the future. So for the fiscal year 24, not 23 coming up, but the one after that, we've made notes already and we hope to split those out further to give a better idea. The other thing that we're seeing a lot of is in their mileage reimbursement line. And I don't want you to think that the sheriff's office is wasting money on mileage reimbursement. However, we have to pay the hot MHMR for psychological transports often. And we're looking into that situation to figure out what we can do to mitigate some of that. But as you guys know, the number of EDOs we sign around this place has not gone down recently. And so as those costs continue to go up and the state underfunds this mental health crisis we're in the middle of again and again, that falls on the local taxpayers. So that's another line item that we're going to have to take a long look at and put some more money in. It's just the nature of the business we're in. Yes, sir.
Get those paperwork back.
As soon as you get, so you want the FSL stuff? Yeah, no problem. Sure, pass those.
Do they want copies or do they want this original?
You want the originals and these on the resolution and the art on the resolution letter of support, you want the original or a copy? Copy's fine. Okay, getting it. So those are the things we're seeing there. We have the COLA numbers we've got to put in. We're waiting for final numbers on the benefits as that moves forward. This was the last, as we stated earlier, this is the last commissioners court. We would allow any changes in this year's budget for employee. Those have to have a static number now so we can get the final numbers worked out. So there won't be anything considered for the rest of this fiscal year for raises or employee merit pay or any kind of bumps like that. That's just not going to happen until next fiscal year now. We have there's so many things I'm thinking about here, and there's so few that really make a difference at this point, but just lots of little odds and ends going through, making sure people are in the right places, making sure lines are in the right places, keeping a real close eye on fuel. You know, we saw the Saudis yesterday said they're going to do us a favor and cut production, raise the price of oil again. So we just thought we were getting out of this high price fuel. I'm afraid that's not going to be the case. We're still conversations with what you brought up the other day regarding the IT and a vehicle over there. We need to sit down and discuss that a little bit further if that's something you gentlemen are really thinking about. I need to know how that would operate. If we're going to do that, looking at Philip's current budget and proposal that he made some time back was that he has saved a considerable amount of money in the contract services by bringing Wendy Hernandez on and doing a lot more in-house. He believes he has the funding in that budget line for this fiscal year to purchase a vehicle, should he be able to find one. That would mean we would have to allocate fuel for next fiscal year. We would have to allocate repairs. We would have to allocate insurance for a vehicle. But again, those are all things that can be done if you're telling me it needs to be done. The other items that are outstanding. Hey, thank you so much, Art. Mr. Methanize, thank you so much. Great to see you. Other outstanding items, I think we've whittled through the jury fund. We're good there. I think we've whittled through non-departmental. Again, we're going to set aside a rather large sum of money and a contingency, a payroll contingency, attempting to get the last of getting our payroll kind of sorted out finally. On the 7th, I plan on bringing you four guys a proposal for your precincts as to what it looks like. I've got a lot of work to do in the next 2 weeks to get that thing together. Susan's really been ramrodding this. Cameron, the auditor's office, has been very helpful. But we're going to really sit down and have some discussions on what this looks like in the next 2 weeks and get that approved by the 7th so that we can move forward with it. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, the 6th. Thank you. I don't know why I'm hung on. What is September 7th? Is there an anniversary date? It's not mine. I read the inside of my ring. I read the inside of my ring. That's March 31st. So I don't know what the 7th is. Wait,
7th is on Wednesday, but
is there something bad happening? I'm not, I mean, it must be subconscious. It's the 6th.
On the
Yeah, the 6th. Yes, sir. Yeah, that's a question we've got right now. So, you know, vehicles are hard to come across. We've had a consistent problem with the transmission in Constable Precinct 2's truck. And it keeps coming back to the exact same thing, it appears. There is I didn't know they did this in automatic transmissions, but call it a thermostat. Call it the same thing as your thermostat in your radiator. Well, that works great in places that are not named Texas, where it gets to be 100 some odd degrees. And it keeps overheating that. This is the second time, or it's the third time.
This is the first time that issue by itself in the church. 4,000 miles ago, the transmission was rebuilt.
Yeah,
When this issue came up, and the reason why I did the quotation to rebuilt is because they said we didn't rebuild the transmission, we only replaced the one part that were in it last time. So if say, for example, third and fourth gear were out, all they did was just replace the clutch for third and fourth gear. That's all Chevrolet will do under warranty.
Mhm.
I'm at 79,000 miles, the warranty runs out on it at 100. The warranty also times out 5/16 of 23.
we'll hit 100 before then.
And I talked to everybody in the Chevrolet dealers around here, including transmission shops, all pointed fingers to Howard's and Meridian, and said, call Gary. Talk to Gary. Gary said, Justin, as soon as that thing hits 100,001 miles, bring it to me. We need to take out that thermostat, we need to replace the torque converter, and that'll help that transmission live longer. He goes, worst case scenario is if that transmission fails, it's 4,200, 40, right now it's $4,200 to rebuild that transmission. And he said that is the only problem with those trucks. He said that truck will last a long time if the transmission is built correctly. I know several people in the courthouse facility that have had issues with that 6-speed transmission. Precinct 1, Eddie Montgomery's even, he's had issues with it personally before. On his vehicle, I know Tom had a Go Colorado second transmission, he got rid of it because of the same issues. Chevy has an issue, they just haven't accepted the fact that, on any recalls or anything of how to fix the transmission. I just need to prepare that in 100,000 miles, this thing's gonna crap out on me again, and it'll be a transmission.
You've had it how long now?
We got it in 2018.
19,
19.
19, 19, 20, 21. So you're putting about 25,000 a year on it.
Yes, sir.
So-
That's not including, 4.5, 5 months I was out.
Wow, that's true. That's true. Yeah, yeah.
I mean, it's just,
Before the end of this next fiscal year, you expect to have 100,000 on it.
well, and that's all on the plan for is even talk about moving on to a different one or, planning for the repair of it next year.
Yeah, no, and right now with the current vehicle situation, I said it'd be smarter to plan for the repair of it because, if I tell you we'd get you a vehicle if we could, a year to get a single and then, yeah.
Commissioner Lake told me when we were in court last time, he said, reach out to Mr. Hugo with the sheriff's office using that leasing program.
Ah,
I reached out to him and he suggested, I don't know if I can find the vehicle. You'd be better off ordering a vehicle now to get it in a year because there's close bars. He said they're just hard to come. Unless agency backs out, that already has something on order. I'll have to pay and see what I can find. That was 2 weeks ago. And he just texted me earlier and said, still looking.
yeah.
That they're doing what they can to try to find something that you can give a number. They can give me a quote, but they don't have the vehicle right now. But
Chief, what you got back there? How much? I imagine it's gonna be a lot more than $4,200. That's my deal. My take on this one is, used to 100,000 miles on a vehicle is a lot of miles. Nowadays, 200,000 miles is closer to a lot of miles. I think right now the smartest move financially for us is prepare to either build or replace this transmission when it's out of warranty, knowing that this is going to continue to be a problem, 4 weeks at a time. You get it for 4 weeks, it goes back in the shop. That's not a good sign. I hope you have a little bit better luck, knock on hardwood. But at the same time, right now, we'll just try to figure out how we're going to come up with $4,200 to $4,500 for next year.
that's all.
Okay, good. Gotcha.
Love the truck. I hope that repairing is.
Yeah. We have some contingency funds built into the budget as we do every year, non-departmental for those kind of things. If we had to go there, or if we wanted to, we could put it straight in this budget. We'll just kind of look at which way we can go with this and get back with you. Other budget requests, things along those lines. Yes, ma'am.
I'm really addressing of the white glove. The Martin. Package to go full time, but along those same lines, Foxconn gives us partial reimbursement for carrying the Glendon.
Yeah.
Is there any way with the big job that they would give us additional funds?
It's a good question. I need to ask. I can ask. I don't know the answer to that without asking, but I will reach out to the COG people today. I've got another call set up with them this afternoon and bring that up in that conversation and see what their thoughts are. So,
Address that a little bit.
yeah, Karen.
Sarah is aware of working on this. At this time, they don't have any additional funds. They are putting in their budget, you're also doing the next budget,
Mhm.
but she's aware that we're gonna be taking that on. We're likely taking that on.
Have you got me a price tag on what that's gonna cost me yet? I need that. I really need that to have these conversations.
I'm looking at possibly taking me a year to do that. You're right now, that we're aware of, over 700 acres. That's about what I'm doing in a year for the county.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
We're aware. We're just trying to put a number on that doing. I gotcha.
Well, they're looking at, they were very open funding. Majority of that, because they're gonna pay probably $75.
I really think that we need to get something in writing with their POA when they come to the final, that there needs to be an agreement between the county and between them. Because, you know, it's just a delay in time from when we originally went through this years ago to doing it now. Everybody wants to get the problem corrected. I think it's wonderful. This new POA board sees the issue that we see and they want to fix it. But I still think that we have a duty to protect the county to some degree and get some of the terms of what our responsibilities and duties are, what their responsibilities and duties are. And quite frankly, having an agreement in writing just makes better neighbors. Nobody gets upset. We can point back to, no, we're supposed to do that, or you're supposed to do that. So, okay. What else we got?
We could do that to put in the revenue line.
Yeah,
and then
that-
other versus-
that's the whole thing. If we can get that by the 7th, that would really help my cause, because I need to understand what they're going to pay us versus what we're expected to put out. I know that we've talked that we want this to be revenue neutral. We're not trying to make any money off of them, but also at the same time, we can't subsidize the entire subdivision at the expense of us, the taxpayers. So Karen, if you could, let's make a concerted effort this next week to really buckle down and try to get some numbers together. Work with us if you need help with that, but also getting some commitments out of White Bluff as to what we can do. I don't know if it's reasonable to have an agreement on the 13th, but that is a possibility to do so.
After the Monday meeting, they were going to contact their attorney, they had not done it before that. But they said that they would, and I will put in a call to Mr. Manley and see if that has happened.
Thank you.
After, like, who's going to want to do that,
Okay, good.
if that.
It'll be a plus.
Where we're at. Did make sure they had a copy of the county mandate. So when we started the rest of the project, they do have that.
Very good.
We can afford that. To this. So I think we're heading in the right direction, we just we need to maybe trying to move along.
No doubt.
You know, I'm
What you got?
struggling with my fuel budget.
Yeah.
Not sure it's going to be adequate. Even without White Bluff, I mean, I know it's not adequate where we can do that.
All right, so what's it currently set? I don't have a copy of it. 3,500. And then what do you burn to date? Well, let's see where you're at. The 9-month budget report is what I'm hunting in here, and I need to find, there's the bonds. There's. Back. Thank you.
About 1,800, I believe, and.
What's your department number again? 7,100. Yeah, your projected shortfall, you need to be closer to 4,500. So you 12 months projected have you at 4,261. So I think we should probably move that up to about 4,500. All good there.
And, you know, if we could end up with what,
Thank goodness it's all in one place.
yeah.
Yeah, we can manage our way through that, I'm sure. Good, good. Thank you. I appreciate that. What else have we got?
We address something, an increase for Lou or.
We have not addressed it for Aaron, for Lucio. You know, I'm always has to come up here and ask for things for my people because I think it looks like I'm pushing favorites here, but I think you guys know well what Lucio does for this county and the kind of job he does from year to year for us. I mean, everything's got to work. I'm finding out real quick what he does when he's not here and all the things I got to pick up on the side. And he's never had anything more than the cost of living increase from us that I can find in the last 15 years. Lou's getting up there towards retirement, and it's going to take a lot to replace him, frankly. It just, folks with that knowledge set don't come along very often. He wasn't born with it. He learned it over a long career. in that particular set of skills he possesses is everything from working on roofs to working on fillers. It saves us a considerable amount of money every year to do so. I don't have an exact recommendation for you guys for next year's budget, but I would like to try to do something more than just the COLA for Lucio Balderas, knowing that he puts in so much time, effort. He's here on the weekends, he's here at night. Goodness knows he's here too much. But it's a labor of love for him. This is his building, this is his facility, and he treats it accordingly. And when he does finally retire, I'm going to have troubles replacing him. That being said, you know, is 6% on top of the COLA sound unreasonable? Is that too much? I don't know. I'm just asking you guys.
Which is not really right.
I'd have to pull that up. I wasn't prepared to talk about it today. Forgive me. Susan may have the number there, I think. See?
Currently.
Yes, ma'am.
Well, for proposed is
29,000.
49,000.
There, I thought you said 29. I was like, that's not right. Yeah, she said, I was like, that's not correct. It's 49,000. What is the amount to take him to be an exempt employee under IRS rules now? Is it 53, 54?
So they say.
What would an hourly rate be?
I've got to go back and do the math, guys. I don't want to tell a lie in here off the top of my head. I don't know those numbers off the top of my head.
18.
2368 is the proposed.
So. Get my calculator out. So a 6% increase is comes to 25.1, $25.10. That's too much, too little. These are hard conversations to have. I'm not gonna lie to you. So 6% is $1.36 an hour raise.
You're not gonna get a maintenance man to take care of this building for that.
No,
It's kind of like Philip, he's way underpaid, way overworked.
I agree. So I'm about. I will propose, and I'm not asking for a motion, but if you don't like the idea, you tell me. I'm going to propose the 6% on top of the COLA, which is $1.36. We just heard an hour rate. That doesn't sound unreasonable for everything he does for us. So. Okay.
Varies. Well, yeah.
It didn't bring the road and bridge. One of those things.
Did we decide on maybe a bottom number for the road and bridge?
Let's talk about this real quick, guys. Thank you for bringing that today. So what is the, all right, so we're looking at what is the starting pay for road and bridge? Basic employee or employee with certain skill sets or? I mean.
We need to, whatever the bottom city is.
And I'll tell you, one of the difficulties we've had coming in classifying employees. So let's take kind of a model like we look at the sheriff's office. So we got an employee. And then what does he bring? Just employee. Then you've got CDL. Okay, great. Then we've got employees that are herbicide applicators. And I want to be very, very clear about this. There are 3 Hill County employees that are legally allowed to spray herbicide. Me, Frank Urbanowski, and you. And that's it. So when I hear commissioners say, well, my employees spray herbicide, I don't want to hear that. You better get those people licensed and get those licenses to me now. And then of course, herbicide is different than Roundup. It has been historically, it's not the same deal. But when we said a herbicide applicator, I don't mean spraying Roundup. I mean, there's 3 people that work for this county and I don't do it for the, that's not true. I have done it for the county, but that's not the point. I had to crawl out on a balcony and kill a pecan tree on the courthouse several years ago that started growing between the bricks. Anyway,
Yes, you did. I remember.
I don't like heights, and I hate heights. I have a very, what I believe is a very rational fear of heights. I do not like them. So anyway, coming down to what are these job things that go with it? So we can say, yeah, road and bridge hand, but we all know there's wide variety gulf between this point and this point. So if we had a number for road and bridge hand, or a job description for road and bridge hand, and then a job description for road and bridge hand with CDL, and then job description for road and bridge hand with CDL, or what was an operator. And I know there are some, that's where we need the help at. And everybody's going to advocate for their people. I totally get that, but I have to have objective tests, not subjective. Subjective being, I feel my guy's good. No, objective. My guy has this certification or has this ability and it's proven to us. And so I don't want anybody to think that, hey, I'm downplaying your people's abilities or that we're trying to pay one commissioner more than the other. That's the total opposite of what we're trying to do. We're trying to find a uniform way to describe these jobs and what they are. So if we got a guy that knows how to run, well, in your 2 precincts, a distributor truck, it's something everybody does. That may be something that we need to look at. But again, I need help with that. I need y'all's help with that and proposals.
I don't know, precinct require each individual to have a CDL.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
X number of days to get when that. I have one that has that, and all that's on his own.
Okay, so that's extra. That's not something you, okay,
That's not part.
okay,
That's CDL.
okay.
Then, I don't know if any of y'all guys just hire a general laborer. That would be the.
But yeah, that would be,
bottom line.
I think so.
The
Yeah.
interest level.
That's a good way to put it, entry level.
Remember on that.
Okay, so what should be the bottom rung on an entry level employee? And then that's one with no CDL. Of course, it's not going to affect you because you don't hire them, but we need to have that starting spot to go up.
I do, I hired that guy, but I didn't give, you got 90 days with your CDL.
Okay, I follow you.
So
Okay, I got you.
so
So,
you have to start somewhere.
oh, I agree. Yeah.
We could come up with an entry level pay.
So, okay.
If things, anybody go through level.
I wrote it at 16.
You can't now. That, my life, we had to hire 3 years ago. Yeah.
So anyway, so the entry level of position, I mean, what are we talking? Can you get a guy for 15, 16 that is going to stay with you, you can trust?
If you can promise me, give his CDL. Give him some advantage. Have you?
See, I have a guy that doesn't have a CDL. Okay, and he's not gonna get it.
Yeah.
He's a very talented blade operator. He can run an excavator. He can.
Oh, yeah.
Whatever, but he's not, and I've told him, you'll never make what the truck drivers make because. You won't get a CDL. And I think there should be, if we're gonna do 16, then that's the bottom line. If you have a CDL and we'll start you at 17. And then with your longevity pay that you.
Okay, what are you gonna put the operator rate? The motor grader.
Okay, now these are just numbers I'm throwing out. If you got a CDL, then we'll start you at 17. Once you learn to run a motor grader, we'll move you to 18. If you can run an excavator and a motor grader, you that's good. You'll be at 18. How you make your money is you stay here, you get longevity pay, you get our annual cost of living raises. But my bottom guy, he knows, and I told him from the get-go, those other guys are gonna make more than you, because yes, you can run equipment, and they can't, but I got another problem. I got guys that just drive trucks.
Mhm.
That's all they do.
And say
That's why they-
a certain skill set, but also operating a motor grader. It's a certain skill.
Absolutely. And my guys, if you can drive a truck, run a motor grader, run equipment, you need to make top pay.
But I mean, what I'm getting at though is that you've got one guy that just drives a truck, you've got one guy that just operates a motor grader. Where we can put us,
Well, that's.
To me, they're just in the middle.
Well, I mean, no, their skill sets are basically the same, even though they do different.
Different
Yeah.
skills, but I got you.
So, but those guys have already been here and they're up, with the step and increase over the years. Is this just gonna be the new guys starting at this rate? They just have to work their way up.
Yes, we can't bring anybody down.
No, hell no. I'm sorry. No. Let me explain. No, nobody's coming down. There may be some people that have to come up to adjust to this. And we ain't playing favorites here. We're just trying to level it. Nobody's going to lose a dollar that works for us. It's just, we may have to pull some people up to get to where they need to be.
The two employees I've got, did you do is bring them up.
Yeah. And so let's talk about like their skill sets individual. Give us an idea what we can set this up on. Those two guys, without using names, what kind of skill sets do they have? Skills, yes, sir.
Everything.
So they're CDL, they're
They're CDL, they're blade operators and load operators. They're pothole patchers, they're shop maintenance, shop repair, mechanics.
That's the next question. How many of y'all got a guy that's actually called a mechanic? I don't mean changing tires and brake pads, but I mean somebody you trust to pull an engine down and rebuild it. Did you really? I don't know what we should be paying for woodworking, but okay.
Distributor truck.
So that's the deal. I get it. But that's the reason we're having this discussion. I need your help to whittle that down. How do I categorize this? How do I say, okay, this is where it needs to be? And look, I'll be honest with you. I really need two of you guys to sit down together and throw me a proposal. Because the quorum rules, we can't have four of us in a row, two of them. Which two of you are willing to volunteer to do this?
I'll do it. It's really pretty simple. I think we're just overthinking this. You got basic labor, somebody that,
Okay,
and you got CDO and equipment.
We need to break down classes.
Yeah.
okay.
You need basically.
So I got my two volunteers, is what I just heard. So what I want to do is get Commissioner Hawkins and create a committee as my prerogative as presiding officer of this body is that Commissioner Montgomery, Commissioner Hawkins will make my committee. We'll work with Ms. Tamara Harrison and the auditor's office and Susan to get something formulated for this court by the September 7th meeting that we can kick through here and know that anything we can do, we can always go back and tweak later if we find out, I'm not 100% happy with it. Don't let perfect be the enemy of good, but getting that worked out. So. All right, so we now have a standing committee on salaries for road and bridge hands. I like that.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah. Oh, it's just, we don't, I know what you guys do, I think, but I'm not there every day. Oh, yeah, he just said, he shut up. You saw that committee and he buckled down? Yeah. That man knew this was coming. So, all right, well, if you guys seriously will get together this week and start talking and figuring out questions that we need to answer for you, we'll get that done. It's just a matter of we need to get that going. What else we got? Other budgetary kind of thingies.
Anybody else?
Say something, Larry.
Going once, going twice, make a motion adjourn.
Oh, Susan got in under you there, I think. I'd make a terrible first base umpire because I think you may have been safe, but you're out now. Go ahead.
Are we getting any proposals on the same system? to the district court?
It's not really in my wheelhouse, the district judge's courtroom. We're kind of running with the district judge to do that. He brought those people in like we do. So again, I guess I will check with the district judge's office and see if they've got any. Oh, thank you.
From Infinity Sound, same folks that did the county court of law thing. It was over $100,000. Then there was another, it was Asbel.
Yeah, those Asbel's the folks that did the exhibits building for us.
He was the fourth, he was $20-something thousand. Now,
Oh.
the last thing that we had asked for was, essentially, one thing I will give Infinity Sound credit for is they've been very communicative. They have multiple, web meetings with us, with, I think Hannah and, folks in the report. So we asked for that from Advil, basically to just say, hey, can you tell us, we see this, and but can you specifically speak to what you're going to do to change it? And to my knowledge, we haven't done that.
For-
I'm not involved in that.
For a quarter of the price, we can wait just a little bit longer.
So that's pretty much everything I know.
Okay.
Have not heard anything back from them, it's my knowledge.
Yeah.
See, that's what you get. You sit there and you didn't talk quick. You didn't say it quick enough.
Well, I think that the Infinity Sound folks are proposing essentially the same solution that we got with the county court of law.
Yeah,
okay.
okay.
So.
They're just very expensive. The other thing I'll let you guys know, I met out last week out at the Cell Block Museum, our historic Hill County Jail, with the folks from Architectus. They took an engineer and one of the architects to the building. We crawled into places that I don't think any human's been in some matter of number of years. Interesting finds in there. The clerks were not happy with what I found for them, but I did get some of your records for you. Anyway, and oh yeah, JP and district and maybe your time. Okay. Anyway, long and short of things, we found a lot of district court records, JP records, some old county criminal court before 1954, which would have made it.
Where was this at?
The Cell Block Museum. Yeah. Old books. Actually, not just books, shucks. Lots of shucks still in the shuck drawers, but they burned on top. So apparently after the fire, some of the elected officials threw a bunch of stuff in the trash that shouldn't have been thrown in the trash. So I don't know. Anyway, we've recovered some of that and we're going to bring it back into our system. I understand that there were some gates or something installed down at the support services building in the back. I wasn't consulted on that, so I can't talk about it. And then if it's blocking access to the shredder, that's going to be an issue. The district clerk has done this. I wasn't, last I heard, it wasn't going to happen. So I didn't follow anything. And I got told last Friday it happened. So I need to go down there, take a minute and tour that building and see exactly what was put in without the commissioner's court authority or an ask from commissioner's court, since it is commissioner's court building and right to do it, and see if it's blocking everybody else's access to that big shredder we bought. So I need to get back to that. Just remember, these are county buildings. If you're going to make changes, great, but you need to ask the commissioner's court first to make those changes and get our approval to do so. Unilateral actions inside of buildings are probably not the best for all parties concerned. So not mad about it. We just need to get it kind of straightened out as to what's where and why it's the way it is. Otherwise, yeah.
Just gonna speak real quick to the vehicle request,
Yes.
maybe 2 commissioner reports ago, where Chief Lincoln was doing her proposal. And Commissioner Montgomery brought me the similar type proposal Chief Lincoln had, and it was actually, so I've gone to Zach, is it Zach and I asked him? Zach Ford.
Oh, yeah, Zach, yeah.
And so we looked at a used 2020, I believe it was a Ford Edge, just a mid-size SUVs, all we're looking for, but it was a brand new 2023 Traverse, I believe what Chief Lincoln.
Yeah, 29,000 and change, yes, sir.
Yes, and it was actually about $3,000 less than the used Ford Edge.
Yeah.
For the brand new Traverse.
Yeah.
And he needs very well.
I'll put an action item on that because what he's proposing is that he pay for it out of savings from this year's out of the contract services line, if I recall.
Correct.
So I need to put that on the September 7th meeting if we're going to take action on that so that we can have an official action on that allowance. 6th, why do I keep saying that? My goodness, I'm gonna tell you what, not enough coffee this morning. September 6th meeting, I apologize. Okay, so let's talk about that. Go ahead.
For the VA.
No, it's the Axon system that both the sheriff's office and the DA uses. I was originally told they have a $48,000 payment for storage. Well, that's not actually the case. It turns out that $48,000 is software maintenance for that stinking system that they got to pay. So that's not something that's coming out of your budget. It's theirs. Right now, it's being supplied out of a what is the software and maintenance?
Software maintenance.
That's 2305. 3103. Thank you. Well, theirs isn't labeled as software. It's labeled as something else. We have 2 different units with that same number. So since it's actually to theirs, I would think we would need to budget it in theirs, but I'm open to suggestion on this. Because the storage solution, they're paying an additional, what I was told yesterday, $5,000 a year over what they thought they would for the storage. That's a big difference between that and 48,000. 48,000, I can build a storage facility for that, you know, there's a lot of NAS boxes there. But with 5,000, I don't know, can you, what is gonna cost more to build storage and rent storage than it is just to go along with that? I don't know the answer.
So, okay, so 5,000 more? So then what's the 48? Oh, okay.
Yes, it's like you wanted to, all that stuff.
Okay, so 43 is just software subscription essentially. And then the other 5 is for storage.
Yes.
I would say, and they're keeping it in their cloud.
Mhm.
Well, yeah, through NS.com so that we can access it. It has a lot of features in it that we.
For $5,000, I say we leave it the way it is.
I agree. Okay. Yeah, sorry, I thought we'd worked it up behind the scenes. So yeah, that's something we need to address as well.
But the DA's office, their storage with unlimited, but sheriff's office, you guys have unlimited, right?
Yes, so the in-car camera footage is unlimited, it doesn't cost us, but we have to pay the storage with body camera.
What's your storage retention policy on that is what?
So the concept behind the whole thing and reason why they did it, on storage is that you send it to the DA's office, you send it to the CA's office, they have it. They have unlimited storage under
Mhm.
the contract that we don't. We're working with the DA to try to get them to use it like a system. In the meantime, we're buying extra to keep our data.
Okay.
Is the DA using
Baby steps.
okay, are you guys still running CDs?
Yes, and no, that's whatever.
Which we really don't need to be doing that. We could direct that system straight into his storage without burning CDs and done. All right, and okay, so 90-day on non-incidents, good, all right. We're just not keeping day-to-day stuff.
120.
I think we should keep everything 180 days. That's. That way it's plans.
6 months, okay.
Motorola, or your budget for the Motorola.
Yes, ma'am. The annual maintenance for my room. 22, 23 year.
Plans.
Correct.
My understanding right now, that's what the entire. Oh, yeah.
I'm still paying 90,000 a year. Before. So that's-
Well, and in which case, if we're paying it out of your budget and there, should we budget the additional 48,000 into your budget then?
I'm that.
You know, if you're okay with it, that's what we'll do. Because I forgot that you're still paying for the other software out of the sheriff's office, the Motorola. So, yeah, I don't know what I was thinking. That way I don't have to create a new budget line. Yeah, just, okay.
Y'all still have E-Force?
Oh, yes. We are converting what we have. It's in the cloud, the flood.
Do you want the jukebox that's in Franklin? Found it yesterday doing that tour.
Oh, you-
It's sitting on that table in the back of the kitchen. All right,
Going once, going twice. Make a motion adjourned.
motion second, stand adjourned. Thank you for your attention to these matters today.